Professor, Washington quarterback Robert Griffin III. Also today, what is the greater question? How Alan Bailey grew up on this island on the coast of Georgia to make it to the NFL, or can this way of life, which predates the end of slavery, continue in the 21st century?
It's a whole other world. I wouldn't call it third world, but this is a whole other world from the mainland and from any other city I've been to.
Today outside the lines, an NFL player's sense of place and Doug Williams' finest hour, narrated by Robert Griffin III.
And now, reporting for Outside the Lines, Bob Lee.
In this Black History Month, today we visit a place that holds both the heart of an NFL player and the history of a way of life which is fighting to survive. And we begin with the story of a man in a moment which resonates 25 years after this all went down. Doug Williams' Super Bowl victory was more than a moment for Washington fans to celebrate. His performance remains the only Super Bowl championship for a starting black quarterback, a beacon of achievement and a benchmark of some progress. A quarter century on, the story of that day when Williams nearly missed his chance to make history is reported by Greg Garber and narrated by a man who understands all of this better than most, the current Washington quarterback, Robert Griffin III.
There's always been this idea that blacks lacked the intellectual decision-making capabilities of playing the quarterback position.
A quarter century ago, here in San Diego, Doug Williams became the first African-American quarterback to start a Super Bowl.
I don't remember when race began to matter. I just heard how long he was a black quarterback. And that's the only question that I heard 25 years ago.
That's how Williams recalls a question he was asked on Media Day a few days before the game. In 1988, even 40 years after Jackie Robinson broke baseball's color line, a perception still lingered.
Nobody of the other race said that, hey, I think that this player is not as smart. But that was in the air.
I had been a black quarterback only when I left Grambling, because when I was at Grambling, I was just Grambling's quarterback. Eddie Robinson made sure I grew up and understood who I was in America, but at the same time, he always told us, America is the only place that's going to give you that opportunity.
After graduating from Grambling State, Williams was selected by Tampa Bay in the first round of the 1978 draft. He played 5 seasons there before spending 2 seasons in the USFL. In 1986, the Redskins signed him as a backup.
They didn't call me and say, we're signing you for Black America, we're signing you for the Washington Redskins. I think that's the most important thing right now.
In his second season in D.C., Williams earned the starting position as the underdog Redskins headed to the Super Bowl. But it was his race, maybe even more than the game, that became the focus.
All of a sudden, he has more than a game on his back. He's got history on his back. He's got the hopes and dreams of a whole race. You know, how did I get all of this? I'm just a football player. But it wasn't just another game, and he wasn't just another player. Not that.
The first play of the game for Denver was a touchdown.
So the Broncos on a long pass from the field make it 7-0, and on a 24-yard field goal by Carlos make it 10-0 with 9:09 to go in the quarter.
Everybody was saying, don't panic, don't panic.
Doug goes back for a pass and goes down on the ground and actually did kind of a split. Now, you got to remember, he's got a bad knee anyway.
He's hurt. He might be hurt. Did you see him twist his leg when he went down? And Doug Williams has got to have a sore leg.
I said, don't touch me. I said, because if I can get up, if the good Lord let me get up, I said, I'm going to finish this game.
I sent Jay Schrader in the game. I said, hey, get Doug out of there.
If he had simply not come back out on the field, or if he had performed poorly, that would have been something that would have been viewed as a collective black limitation.
Doug told Schrader, this is my team, out. Go back to the sideline.
And then the second quarter began.
Boom. We hit that thing down the boundary, and Ricky took it, and we scored a touchdown. And from that point on, to be quite truthful, I think I could have called anything on the play sheet. I could have held it up and go like this. That one.
Williams for Floyd. Touchdown.
To be up 10-0 and to be into the game and then just kind of have the skies open on top of you was, was disappointing.
Williams deep for Sanders again. Makes the catch. And he lost it for Didier. Touchdown. Doug Williams, he's had a dream year and a dream day for our quarterback.
In just 15 minutes, the Redskins ran 18 offensive plays and scored 35 points. They'd go on to win 42-10. Williams, the first African-American quarterback to win the Super Bowl, was also named MVP.
This ends what has been a class week for the Washington Redskins and Doug Williams in particular. Talk about your moment in the sun. Well deserved.
Leaving the field, Williams connected with his old Grambling State coach, Eddie Robinson.
I was fortunate enough when I walked off this football field, walked down the tunnel and got to hugging Coach Robinson, and we both was crying. He told me that I would never understand the impact and significance of that game until I got older.
It was almost like a shot in the arm of adrenaline. It was like the confidence, the pride. It translated into so many different aspects of life, whether it was in government, whether it was in business, that African American could win the biggest game in the most popular sport.
African Americans were saying, we're there, we've done it, you can't hold that over our head. The social aspect of it allowed us to feel comfortable as a country. We're getting past things that shouldn't be there.
If you're traveling in the airport and might be a guy traveling with his mom, and he say, hey mom, that's that guy you was on your knees praying for right there. And she said, baby, I don't know nothing about football, but I prayed for you that day.
Today, Williams is the head coach at his alma mater. His son DJ is his quarterback.
They always turn to me and tell me, is this your dad? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, you don't understand what he meant to me, what he meant to our family. That just makes you feel so great to know that your dad had a huge impact on a lot of people around the world.
Doug Williams' performance that day opened the doors for those African-American quarterbacks like myself and others who followed. Maybe even for some outside the athletic arena.
This is the Super Bowl, and a black guy look like me operates out of our community, wins. The sky's the limit. We can win a Super Bowl. We can be president. Well, we did. Oh.
You don't read about Seattle's quarterback. You don't read about the Washington Redskins quarterback being black. They just happen to be their quarterback. And I think that's the way it should be, and hopefully that's the way it'll be from here until eternity.
Reporting Greg Garber and the voice of Robert Griffin III. Let's now turn to the Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist of the Washington Post, Colbert King. And Colbert, people were praying for Doug Williams, and he collapsed in tears into the arms of Eddie Robinson. Take me